How to solve a problem within your ad account. In today's video, we're going to talk about how you should approach solving a problem within your ad account. It doesn't matter whether you're a media buyer, e-commerce founder, or marketing manager. It is important to understand and break down your problem. So without any further ado, this is what we're going to talk about, and I'll see you on the other side. Hey everybody, my name is Victor and I'm the founder of Victory Media, a boutique Facebook marketing agency that exclusively works with D2C e-commerce brands to help them scale their revenues to the next level by the proper implementation of Facebook ads. And one question that always arises or that people come up to me asking is, how do I solve a specific problem within my ad account? So in my opinion, the most important thing to keep in mind is to resist easy answers and do not go with broad problem statements. And just for you to know, the problem statement that I've just made in terms of, hey, my ROAS went down, or hey, I have a revenue problem, which are pretty much the two problems that most people and potential clients come up to me with. Those are broad statements, and as I've just said, you should avoid those at all costs. In my opinion, there are two reasons why you should avoid broad problem statements. And the first one is because broad problem statements usually lead to broad solutions. Talking about why your revenue went down is not really going to challenge your brain to properly think about what is the missing component that I have to overcome. It will automatically just think in broad solutions and will not really give you any actionable insight or actionable element that you can start using and implementing today. So this was the first reason why you shouldn't make broad problem statements. The second one is that problems just don't pop up out of nowhere. Problems are essentially just the consequence of your actions. When people come up to me saying, hey, I have a revenue problem, or I don't come to my projected profits, or my ROAS went down, well, then this doesn't come out of nowhere. This is just not popping up out of nowhere. This is something happening within your funnel, within your ads, or within your business in general that led to that outcome. I always really like to use the analogy of cars don't just break down, right? There is a particular part of the car that stopped working. And you need to figure out, is it the motor, is it the brakes, or is it just the wrong gas that you put in there? Having that said and having that in mind, that problems don't just arise, but there are a consequence of different actions that you have taken in the past that you want to really internalize, and with that mindset want to isolate your particular problem. If you, for example, go ahead and go to a team member or come up to me, for example, saying that you have a revenue problem at hand and a month-on-month revenue is down 20%, the first thing that you want to do is isolate the problem. Because revenue, similar to problems, they don't just pop up. They are a consequence of different actions. For revenue, especially daily revenue, this is the consequence of your traffic, your visitors, your conversion rate, as well as your average order value. It's nothing more, nothing less. You really want to break it down to the fundamentals and isolate your problem into one of those three pillars or buckets, whatever you want to call it. So the problem that I just displayed was a problem that happens on a holistic business level. However, the same goes for channel-specific problems, like problems that arise within your ad account. Problems like an increased cost per purchase don't just come out of nowhere. Similar to how to solve business problems on a more broader level, you want to make sure that you isolate your problems also on an ad account level, and you want to make sure to understand where the increased cost per purchase comes from. So how do you solve a problem within your ad account? Similar to a revenue problem that you have at hand, a rise in or an increasing CPP, a cost per purchase, doesn't just come out of nowhere. It doesn't pop up out of nowhere. It's a consequence of actions. It's a consequence of metrics. And therefore, you want to go ahead and take a step back and take a look at the different metrics that are influencing that cost per purchase. For Facebook ads and a channel-specific cost per purchase, this is caused by, first, your cost per mil, your CPM, your cost to deliver your ads to your target audience. Secondly, your CTR, your click-through rate, meaning how many people have actually clicked on your ad and wanted to know more about your product. And last but not least, from those people that have been onto your website, how many have then actually purchased your product from that ad? So therefore, it's pretty simple. If you want to solve a problem within your ad account, you want to take a look at the different metrics that influence this outcome. For cost per purchase, if you have an increasing cost per purchase over the last days, the last weeks, or even the last couple of months, you want to take a look at which of those metrics have increased, or maybe a couple of those metrics even have increased. Has your CPM risen? Has your cost per click-through rate decreased? Has your conversion rate decreased, either shop-wide or only channel-specific? You want to make sure that you take a look at those different metrics to then properly evaluate how to specify your problem and then therefore also your solution. So that is step number one on how to solve a problem within your ad account. You want to narrow down, you don't want to specify your problem. You don't want to go with a problem statement like, I have a rising CPC, I have a rising cost per purchase, what should I do? You want to understand your different metrics that lead to that outcome and then narrow down your problem. Once the step number one is completed and you've specified, successfully understood where the problem is laying, you want to go to step number two and understand how this actually happened. Why did the CTR increase? Why do I have a decreased conversion rate, and how did this actually happen? So there are different approaches to actually identifying that and thinking about why did it happen. But in my opinion, the most objective way and manner to think about that is to compare this metric, which is decreasing or not on target right now, to a time when it has been on target and performing super well for you and your account and your brand. Meaning, if you, for example, have had a bad click-through rate over the last couple of weeks and you want to understand why this actually happened, you want to take a look at your time frame from starting from when it went south to your time frame when you actually had a lot of good results and a high CTR coming from your creatives. Was it an audience change, which is less likely nowadays? However, have you had a new creative format cycled in? Have you had a couple of creatives tests launched that might have given you some wrong signals and you've cycled them in within your core prospecting campaign, and now this has actually led to a decreased click-through rate? All of those things are particular signals that you want to analyze and narrow down. So again, you can see how we come from a more broader problem statement and a broader situation to a really specific and actionable insight, right? We go ahead and started talking about, okay, we have an increasing and unprofitable cost per purchase. Then we narrowed it down to, okay, our click-through rate has actually been decreasing quite a lot over the last 2-3 weeks. What did happen in this time frame? And then you went ahead and taken a look at your creatives and thought about, what are the things that I have cycled in over the last 2-3 weeks or 3-4 weeks, and how did this differ from when the click-through rate was actually performing super on target and I was having a great time with my Facebook ads. Now, this could be everything really, right? It could start, as I said already, with audiences, but what I most often see is that you launch creative tests and you go ahead and start having some kind of a false learning and you cycle that into your call prospecting campaign, and it almost is like a little virus within your ad account. You have made a couple of wrong and false learnings within your creative testing, and for whatever reason they did perform well in that initial period, but then you cycled them into your core prospecting campaign, maybe have turned off a couple of your previous winning ad creatives, and then there you have it. You have a decreased cost click-through rate, which then actually led to an increased cost of traffic, which then, although the conversion rate stayed the same, led to an increased cost per purchase. So you know what to do. You have to cycle out those faulty and false creatives that actually were not performing as well as your previous winners, and you want to turn on those ad creatives again. So, and this is pretty much already it, right? In order to solve a problem within your ad account or pretty much in every area of your business, you first want to really narrow down your problem and your particular problem statement. Problem statements like, okay, we are off in terms of our MER, we don't really hit our profit projections, do we have a revenue problem? Those are not actually actionable problem statements. Those are consequences of actual problems that are happening within your business or ad account. So the first thing you need to do in order to solve a problem within your ad account is narrow the problem down and specify your problem statement. Then as soon as you have that, like with our example of a click-through rate, you want to compare your current time frame where you have an underperforming performance with that metric, and you want to compare it to a time frame where this particular metric was actually on performance, on target, or even outperforming other metrics and other time frames. And then you want to mimic and copy what has been going on back then and actually implement it in today's ad account like your previous winning ad creatives. And that is pretty much it. If you want to know more about particular examples and situations where I, for example, can go ahead within our ad accounts and take a look at problems that might be arising within those ad accounts, and I can showcase to you how we're solving those problems, then make sure to drop a comment right below. However, I always prefer to give some more of a strategy solution than particular tactics, because those things you can apply across the board, across different niches, across different accounts whatsoever. So with that being said, if you found any value in that video, then make sure to hit this like button right below. It helps more than you can imagine. It also really motivates me. And if you want to know more about how to grow your e-commerce brand profitably with the help of Facebook ads and paid social and all that good stuff, then also feel free to hit the subscribe button right below this video. Either way, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate you spending the time with me. That is the most valuable thing that you could ever give me. So thank you for that, and I hope I'll see you in the next one next Thursday. Without any further ado, keep growing. Thank you so much for watching the video to this point. I know that if you've come this far, that you form a part of an exclusive group of people that do not only talk, but walk the talk, and that you are hungry for more content. So therefore, I went ahead and picked out an exclusive video just for you that I know you're going to love. Check it out right here.